Greetings, my fellow philosophical thinkers. LL3's Roots Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful Swampy Mango, South Florida. And today's date is Tuesday, July 17th, 2018. In addition, I'm at Squiggy's New York Pizzeria, located at 207 Southwest 2nd Street, or Himmelsy Drive, in the heart of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Himmelsy District should be exact. Cool little place, open till like 4:30 a.m. Tuesday through Sunday. Mondays are closed until further notice. Alright, well, of course, the whole thing was going on around the world, the chaos, the anxiety. Of course, you got more people going Trump bashing as usual with the Russian President Putin, saying he's bellying up. Yeah, if it was Benjamin Netanyahu to be doing a ticker tape parade and climaxing to the extreme. Right? Yeah, exactly. But, like I told folks, you gotta look at all the elements in it and just watch these things yourselves. More of Trump anxiety as usual. People should flip out over it, because that's what they do, is being dramatic as usual. And the so-called civil war is just another farce. I'm going to probably repeat myself a few times, but that's just me. Yeah, so on, of course, other things as well. More feast and famine, I would say. Yeah, it's interesting because I know I've been talking about South Africa in the past. My past episodes. It looks like one region has seceded from the Republic of South Africa. And about is it Cape Town is and all that. Looks like they gave the African National Congress the big middle finger. I just found this out today. I was listening to a show by Republic Broadcasting Network entitled Resident Republic. Very good show. Very good site, by the way, Republic Broadcasting Network. And I thank them for putting this out. And it came from South Africa today. It came out yesterday, to be exact. And we'll just check this out. It's, where are you? I'll mainly be talking about this. It says here, the Cape is now the sovereign state of Good Hope. Came from South Africa Today.net. And as it reads here, the sovereign state of Good Hope, or SSGH, took down the South African flag and hoisted their flag in Cape Town on 16 July 2018 at 1100 hours. Parliament in Cape Town has been served with an eviction notice to vacate the property by Friday, 20th July 2018. The sovereign state of Good Hope is the formation of the new sovereign nation state, being the result of legitimate lawful process of succession by the traditional hereditary tribal leader of the Khoisan nation, Goab, which is loosely translated to king in English, Kohobaha Calvin Cornelius III. This territory includes most of what is currently known as the Cape Province of South Africa and extends to the northern border of the Cape and ends at the Fish River on the eastern frontier. The king was sworn in 2001, and the final stage of succession completed today. The king also addressed his people. It's very intriguing because, based on what was going on over there with a lot of the crimes and people being beat up or being evicted based on some skin color and all that, and they try to blame them for everything what was going on. There's a lot of interesting history in that area. And don't get me wrong, when it comes to governments, it's very disturbing. But then now you want to take it out onto the new generation, blame them for their troubles. It's completely irrelevant and unacceptable. Of course, wiping out the Boers and the Anglos, South Africans, and saying they're a bunch of wicked people and so forth, and taking their lands. You don't even know how to handle the farmland. Okay, so but the whole thing is, one thing I noticed is they keep tabs in these areas, and a lot of folks are being slaughtered and being murdered, which is completely condemning. So it's one of those areas you have to we look at, and it looks like there's a big message that was sent by SGGH. And it's very powerful because they want to take all the land away from the farmers. So what? And of course, that's a big message. What CAPE has done, gave the African National Congress a big middle finger. One of the areas I really commend them for, because they're tired of the garbage, the propaganda, the hatred, corruption, and racism. Based on what I've been reading, I'm going to narrate some of the stuff, what they're talking about. It's very interesting. And don't get me wrong, there's some cons in there, some flaws, things I disagree with. Overall, I like what they're doing. It's a start. Everything's a start. And so I gotta give them the thumbs up for having the courage to take that stance, because there's always a reason why it has been done. And of course, some of the folks here are happy. It's fantastic. Finally, people coming together and working for a future for all. One person knew Haiti would be more like it. You know how that thing goes. You know, some folks have these cockeyed opinions. But it's very exciting. And I'm just going to hit one of the sites here. The United South African Federation. Talking about, creating a future for every citizen. They have an African country, we need change. And the United Southern African Federation, what we stand for, it says here, unity, independence, self-determination, self-rule, zero tolerance on crime, all crime, honest integrity and transparency in every sector of governance, family values. And it's interesting here, talking about democratic values. A country built on values, a democracy must be transparent, open and honest. Anything else is unacceptable. I'm not really crazy about democracy as a whole, because it's mainly mob rule. So hopefully it won't go in that direction, but it can. Because based on the United States Constitution, it never said the word democracy. But it says here, abolition of taxation. Taxation does not work. It is an unnecessary burden on society and completely disproportionate. A fair system on financial transaction levy makes more sense. So that's one of the other reasons. And safety and security. Protection and safety of every USAF citizen is a paramount to a healthy, happy society. We live with the crime for way too long. So since that whole thing of the transition from the apartheid to the African National Congress, I call this an apartheid across the board. They're all in the same tyrannical plantation of area of South Africa. Doesn't matter. But there's a reason why they have the USAF. We all know that there is no future for us in a multicultural society. Rainbow Nation, where we are by far the minority amongst the majority. They hate us. We know anything that we create will be wanted by those who believe it's theirs. So you got folks out there that never want to pay their dues, but it's mine. Hand me respect. That's what they want. You got these freeloaders when they listen to their henchmen and go, yeah, hand me respect, because I don't have a damn clue. I'm a complete idiot. So they're calling them out on it. We all know we should sit in the slowly boiling water. We will eventually lose everything. We all know it will never stop, and so we will have no future for us or our children. We all know we want a place, whether it be amongst our own, with the same culture and religion, whereby building a safe, prosperous, and unified society. USAF objective is to achieve this in our own federal states. And it says here, how do we do it? Everyone registers on USAF once critical number have been achieved in one or more states. Independence can be declared and self-determination can be claimed, which is in alignment with international law. You can say national laws would be a little bit better. I would recommend that. Say international law. Laws of nations, that's the name of it. We can then relocate to our chosen state. Some might choose to move immediately, but it's entirely up to you. This may not be easy, but it's very possible, and it will take us all to be determined and unified in our goals and objectives of self-rule and independence in our own now independent states. We hire our own people. We do business with each other and between other states. Our financial contributions are utilized in the building our own society. We all defend our federal states. We will have a national service for our children, our own security, and we have a constitution that ensures that each state remains as was created under one sovereign nation, the United Southern African Federation. It's very interesting indeed in this aspect, and that's why there's a lot of things you can look at. And of course, it tells you next page here with their king and the people are surrounding them. They're all like walks of life, black, white, some people are Asian, all one unified. Because, like I said, they are tired of what's been happening in that beautiful nation with high crime, drug abuse, and corruption, and seeing good people be suffering because of what they look like or what they have. And right there, my friends, is very extremely dangerous, because who's going to be next? It could be someone else that may have something, has the same tone, color, same tribe, but they go, hey, we want it. It's called a domino effect, a cancer. And so it's nice that it's a good start. And one thing people got to really focus on, they need to really pay attention on what is happening in that area. And of course, it says here about laws pertaining to self-determination. But they have a United States Charter, Constitution of Republic of South Africa, Wikipedia, Unrepresented and People's Organization, Oxford Public and National Law, and Cornell Law School, which is good. Of course, like I said, I'm not crazy about the UN Charter. It says here, Chapter 1, Paragraph 2, to develop relations among nations based on respect for the principle of equal rights and self-determination of people, and to take over appropriate measures to strengthen a universal peace. And interesting here, it was they're saying about what the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, Chapter 14, Section 235, the right of South African people as a whole to self-determination as manifested in this Constitution, does not prelude within the framework on this right recognition or the notion of the right self-determination of any community sharing a common cultural and language heritage within the territorial entity of the Republic or in any other way determined by national legislation. And the reason why they addressed this, because right now it's been going on in South Africa with the African National Congress, they call them commies or whatever, tyrants, the usurp form of government actually contradicts this particular obligation. So it says here, African Charter on Human Rights and People's Rights, Chapter 1, Article 20, says here, all people shall have the right to exist. They shall have unquestionable, inalienable right to self-determination. They shall freely determine their political status and shall pursue their economic and social development according to the policy to have freely chosen. So, inalienable right to self-determination, what is that equal to? Self-defense. It is an inalienable right. Free speech is an inalienable right. Right free of expression, expressing yourselves, as long as you don't violate others, is a natural born right. And it says here, that's Section 1, that's been underlined. And of course, you can look at here, International Covenant 1 on Civil and Political Rights, Part 1. That says here, Article 1, Article 1, one people have the right to self-determination. By virtue of that right, they freely determine their political status and freely pursue their economic, social, and cultural development. So that's one of the areas that looks about laws and all that, pertaining self-determination, which it is legit. And of course, there is a little booklet in here as well on SGGH, and they give you a whole rundown, like 40 pages long, if I'm correct, in a PDF format. And you can look at it yourself. Sovereign State of Good Hope, and talk about right here the intention of the Sovereign State of Good Hope having seceded from South Africa. And in one moment, got a train coming by because this is pretty damn important. Hold on here, got the little train coming in. Yep, it's coming by right. It's ending right now. The intention of a sovereign state of Good Hope, having seceded from South Africa on the 24th of September 2017, the sovereign state of Good Hope aims to implement a policy of self-determination rather than being a politically dominating force of corruption and coercion. King Cornelius has clearly stated that he has no intention of controlling the resources, but seeks abundance for all people within the sovereign state of Good Hope, and that all citizens are free to self-determine, governed only by their oath of allegiance to the state and abiding by the rule of law. The royal house of the Poison Nation is primarily engaged with custodianship and protection from the broader environment, both human and natural, in which the nation can achieve their great potential. A wise, compassionate soul, the king has clearly and humbly expressed his deep knowledge regarding the abundance of human natural resources within the sovereign state of Good Hope. The king is well aware that these resources are currently and historically managed and diverted, resulting in as much as half of South Africa's population in abject and hopeless poverty and relentless fear for their lives and struggling daily with survival under the current political regime. Note the intention of the sovereign state of Good Hope is to restore the nation to a state of dignity and send a beacon of hope and opportunity to those who have impoverished and suffering, to overhaul the education system in a way that teaches compassion, balance, and practical life skills, whilst eradicating the lies, manipulations, fabrications, and misrepresentations from history. The sovereign state of Good Hope intends to provide a safe platform on which all citizens can realize their fullest potential to live in a fair, just, and peaceful, sustainable nation. It tells you who the king is and all that. So I'm just giving you the main objectives on this. So, interesting stuff. And the states, we hit here on the states. And there's actually where Cape Town is and all that featured in your hands. So you can look at that. Yeah, it's real like Cape Town, like it's really interesting. Of course, Johannesburg is near Transvaal, if I'm correct. So we'll just hit that. And why? Why do you want to secede from South Africa? Well, it tells here why self-determination. It's like I like what it says here. It's in two different languages. We'll hit the English one for sure. And it says here, we no longer want to build anything, just get it burnt down, be on a non-law abiding society, live in a godless society, fear the corrupt police force, work hard to pay taxes, just be wasted on corruption, state enterprises such as SAA, PRAZA, Eskom, etc. See the level of farmers' murders and other crimes being ignored. Have slaved and stressed to build up a company and to have to give it half and give half of it away through BEE. We no longer want to be afraid to even go out at night. I want to be able to laugh and feel free again. Be governed by leaders who sow racial hatred and bull dust everybody, and live the high life at the expense of the citizenry. You hear that? So they can those sons of bitches can prosper, but the rest of them won't. So Kio Bono, who benefits? Look what's going on with the ANC's doing in South Africa. Plain and simple, my friends. It's called the domino effect. It says here, we no longer want to be made to feel guilty for having been born white for colonialism and white monopoly capital. Worry about when they will be coming to claim my land I paid for. We'll be in a country where there is race-based hatred. To be frustrated daily by people not seeing or understanding what is being done to them by their elected leaders, I no longer want them to be taken for a ride. And I'm going to go bottom here. We no longer want to love or feel a part of the beautiful South Africa that once was. See protests and destruction of property, looting and burning. Be unemployed because I am the wrong skin color, having worked so hard to get a university degree. Be so stressed when my husband or daughters go out that I won't see them again. We no longer want to worry about our economy and the value of the rand. To be second-class citizens in my own country. Live in a prison while criminals walk free and have all the rights. Be scared to lose my job because I'm the wrong skin color. See no future for me or my family. We no longer want to be part of the so-called rainbow nation. It is now a black tornado sucking up everything ever built and destroying it. Worry that what the future holds for my children and grandchildren when I am dead and gone. We got another train coming by here. Just hang tight. We no longer want to be reminded of apartheid and be blamed for our forefathers and be blamed for what our forefathers did. Guilt trip, exactly. And it says here, we no longer want to fear for my family's safety on the road, in the workplace, and at school. Fear that we will be held at gunpoint while we sleep. Be ruled by people who don't have the same morals, ethics, principles, beliefs, and belief in the rule of law and the Constitution. We no longer want to live in fear. I want to rediscover the simple, precious joys of life. Contribute to this country that gives nothing but consumes all. Drape my laundry all over my home instead of outside and on the wash line. We no longer want to stay locked up in my home while my garden goes to pot. To see our children stuck playing inside instead of riding their bikes at the park. Be part of a state that has been captured by the greedy. Experience reverse apartheid. Hate. We no longer want to pay tax to a government wants to take our paid for land and a search for no compensation. This is for people from all walks of life in this particular region. Black, white, Asian, they're sick of it. And I know the government in Johannesburg, they are infuriated. Remember, they're pieces of garbage. They're vampires. When you do the vampire, you throw a stake at their heart. A silver stake, symbolically speaking. Because they are the enemies of humanity. I will proceed. We want a place I can be part of and develop, pay taxes, be law-abiding, and see progress and prosperity. That only those who have employment may vote. Where my efforts can become my future. Where I can build a business and hand it down through generations of my family. The law and order are obeyed. Where we can build statues and monuments being proud of our future and our past. Where my child will have a future. We want a place where my kids and I can walk the streets anytime without fear. Where race is non-existent. Where like-minded people build a prosperous future together based on mutual respect. A part of creating a life, unbiased, non-racial future for my grandchildren. Where my grandchildren and great-grandchildren have a secure, non-racial, and safe future. We want a place where crimes and corruption gets punished harshly. Where the rules of the roads are strictly adhered to and the police enforce them. We want a place with a stable currency and strong economy. I recommend use gold and silver as your backup. Commodity is extremely healthy. We want a place where my taxes towards creating a better infrastructure like roads, hospitals, schools, universities, etc. Where the most qualified people or best up for the job is employed. We want a place that was like South Africa I used to know, where laughter and fun abound. where there is peace in one's heart, where all pay their fair share of taxes, where peace, love, and compassion is the norm of the day, with good, affordable health care for all. Good, affordable health care. That's pretty good. I can say that. Where people of all races have mutual respect for each other. I want a place where this is an equal opportunity for all. Where Christianity is practiced as a norm and in schools in the country based on Christian values. Where all illegal immigrants are forced to go back to their own country and the borders closed and manned. I see all these people want open borders. You're going to call them racist? We want a place that spreads kindness and compassion, a place full of love. To see all the informal settlements gone and normal homes in their place. President loves and respects every one of us. See the happy children of all colors playing happily in city parks. See all drug lords selling drugs to our children get thrown in jail. Respect the policeman again. Where if you don't work, you don't eat. We want a place where people only produce offspring that they can afford to care for and don't expect others to do that for them. Self-reliance is essential, my friends. We want a place to live with no walls, burglar bars, and electric fences because it is peace, love, and society, and my family and home are under no threat. We want a place to live in a place that encourages and enables folks to open their own businesses so they can employ people and train others to do the same. A society that supports and builds each other for success. We want a God-fearing country where I can be proud of my country and its people and its government, where people know the difference between a right and a privilege. Very good. I like that a lot. I admire some of these principles. Where my children can study in their own language in schools where they learn about their history. Where I can see children walking together and playing together without fear of being mugged or shot. We'd like a place where I can walk alone anywhere. Beach, veld, mountains, forests, national parks without fear, without being mugged, stabbed, raped, and killed. That is it. Those are the values they want. It has to be earned. That's what I talk about, self-determination. And I gotta give them credit for this. I give them a lot of admirability. I'm trying to make this vision alive. People unify as one, keeping it authentic and real. Yes, government and Latin means control the minds of the people in there. Should have love and kindness, but still be vigilant towards this particular establishment or institution. And I say that in good faith. And even they should be ready to set up militias when it's necessary. Because I know the South African government probably wants to go there and do an invasion. You need to be ready, prepared, ready to go to fight the tyrants from the outside. The only thing I always recommend them. That's why natural born rights are, like inalienable rights are the thing. Right to keep and bear arms in that country should be honored. Remember, government are human beings too. They can't be everywhere. But working as a unit, then you can do a lot. Honor one another. You'd be surprised what can happen. And keeping it authentic. I recommend them to get out, avoid the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund. Like I said before, use commodity, tangible currency, gold, silver, platinum. You have a fiduciary note, so be it. No fiat, avoid at all costs. Condemn any central private bank. Look what happened to Zimbabwe. Very good example. And that's one of the areas people got to really look at in that region of SGGH. And even myself, I have my differences, with the United Nations and all that. But you have to start somewhere. And it talks about the King Cornelius, about what they're trying to do. I know they have a thing on documents, because some of them caught my eye. Nice flag, too. Fundamental rights, Declaration of Fundamental Rights of Citizens and Sovereign State of Good Hope, Oath of Allegiance. We'll hit that first. Before I hit the fundamental rights, just to give you guys a clue. And it says here, Oath of Allegiance, I witness myself before God in the presence of the Spirit, country, countrymen, and king. That, you state your name, do hereby solemnly swear my allegiance to the sovereign state of Good Hope, the king, and the royal house. I swear my allegiance to all citizens of the sovereign state of Good Hope, the Constitution, and the principal rule of law. I commit myself to the belief in the fundamental respect and universal dignity of every human being. I will defend my nation and freedoms and bestow on me from all enemies, foreign and domestic. I make this oath of free will and binding of my conscience to serve the nation and the king and the royal house, the sovereign state of Good Hope, before all others, so help me God. So that's to be doing your allegiance with. And even fundamental rights is pretty interesting, like I said. Some of it I may not agree, especially with be a chartered nation, be a strong sovereign nation, earn your merits. It's pretty cool. Looks like you got a little bit influence here by the United States Constitution if you read the people. I think that's awesome. So, because it has a lot of great things in it too. And of course, fundamental rights to citizens of the sovereign state of Good Hope. And I'm not gonna go too crazy. This is pretty long, if I'm correct. Yeah, a lot of good amount of pages on here. But we can hit the their objectives here, affirming that the Secession nation is equal in dignity and rights to all other peoples in the state of Good Hope. The Secession recognize the rights of all people to be different, consider themselves different, and respect as such. Affirming also that the Secession contribute to diversity and richness of civilization and cultures of the state of Good Hope, and who constitute a part of the common heritage of humankind. The Royal House affirmed further that all doctrines, policies, and practices based on the advocated superiority of peoples of individuals on the basis of national origin, racial, religious, ethnic, or cultural differences are racist. So they want to get scientifically false, legal, invalid, morally condemnable, or socially unjust. So it's a unified, not a division. I think we're trying to say here. We're reaffirming also that Secession, or the First Nation indigenous people in the state of Good Hope, have the right to exercise their right to be free from discrimination of any kind. The Secession are concerned that they have been deprived of their human rights and fundamental freedoms, resulting inter alia in colonization and dispossession of their lands, territories, and resources, thus preventing them from exercising in particular their right to development in accordance with their own needs and interests. The Royal House recognized the urgent need to respect and promote their inherited rights and characteristics of all citizens of the state of Good Hope, especially their rights to their lands, territories, and resources which derive from their political, economic, and social structure and from their cultures, spiritual traditions, histories, and philosophies. Inherited rights is promoted. Like I said before, natural born rights. The Secession welcomed the fact that the First Nation indigenous people are organizing themselves for political, economic, social, and cultural enhancement, and in order to bring in all forms of discrimination and oppression wherever they occur. The Secession affirms solidarity with all First Nation indigenous people of the world. The citizens are convinced that control by them over developments affecting their lands, territories, and resources will enable them to maintain and strengthen their institutions, cultures, and traditions, and to promote their development in accordance with their aspirations and needs. Citizens recognize that also respect for Secession traditional knowledge, culture, and traditional practices contribute to sustainable and equitable development and proper management of the environment of the state of Good Hope. Secession emphasizes the need for demilitarization of their lands and territories. This will contribute to peace, economic and social progress and development, understanding and family relations among the people of the state of Good Hope, for nations and peoples of the world. The citizens recognize in particular the right of Secession families and communities to retain and share responsibility for the upbringing, training, education, and well-being of their children. Points also recognize that they have the right to freely to determine their relationship with the citizens of the State of Good Hope on the new Constitution and a spirit of coexistence, mutual benefit, and full respect. The Royal House considers that treaties, agreements, concessions, and other arrangements between the state, private, commercial interests, including public corporations, private multinational corporations, and all other interposer entities are properly matters of international concern and global responsibility. Acknowledging that the Charter of the United Nations, the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, and the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights affirm the fundamental importance of the right of self-determination of all peoples may freely determine their political status and be freely pursue their economic and social cultural development on the State of Good Hope and new Constitution. Like I said, I'm not really crazy about the United Nations. I say that in good faith. These global entities, you gotta be pretty observant over there, my friends, and I say that honorably. The citizens of the State of Good Hope appeal to the United Nations and all members of the international community to comply with and effectively implement all international instruments, in particular those of human rights as they apply to the First Nation indigenous people, in consultation and cooperation with peoples concerned. The process of all consultation shall be strictly regulated by law. Citizens reserve the right to define the procedures of cooperation and consultation under the authority vested in the Coenson Royal House. Emphasize that the United Nations has an important and continuing role to play in promoting and protecting the rights of all First Nation indigenous people, including citizens, State of Good Hope. I would not recommend having UN peacekeeping troops enter your new nation. And of course, the sovereign State of Good Hope now solemnly proclaims the following Declaration of Fundamental Rights of the citizens of the sovereign State of Good People. I'm not going to go too crazy, but you can look at it here yourself. Now, there's some pros and cons in this, especially when talking about the United Nations and all that. But Article 2, like I'm not crazy about Article 1, had the right to full effective enjoyment of all human rights and fundamental freedoms recognized in the Charter of the United Nations, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, international human rights laws. I'm not really too crazy about the United Nations, so I'm not going to digress it or be a dead horse, all right? It says here, said individuals, Article 2, and peoples are free and equal to all individuals, and the peoples and dignity of rights have the right to be free of any kind of adverse discrimination, particularly that based on their indigenous origin or identity. According to self-determination. On here, too, is Article 3. So, like some here, every citizen has the right to a nationality. That's Article 5. You got Part 2. Citizens have the collective right to live in freedom and security, a distinct people, and all full guarantees against genocide or any act of violence. In addition, all citizens have the individual right to life, physical and mental integrity, liberty, and security of person. That's Article 6. It's Part 2 to Article 6. And that's good, so I'm glad they bring that citizens. These things in here I do commend. Now, and I'll be very fair. It's a long page. Well, I'll hit a few more here. And I'll rapidly leave this out here so you folks can read. You can see it for yourself. It says here too, Article 7, citizens have the right, collective individual right, not to be subject to ethnocide and cultural genocide, including the prevention and of redress for any action has aimed on effectively depriving them of their integrity as distinct people or their cultural values or ethnic identities, any action which has aimed or effective of dispossessing them of their lands, territories, or resources, any form of population transfer which has aimed or effected of violating or undermining any of their rights, any form of assimilation or integration by other cultures or way of life imposed on them by legislation, administrative, or other measures, any form of propaganda directed against them. Yeah, so they are saying no ethnocide, genocide, democide is completely condemned, and I do endorse that. So, and we can just, I can just keep going and going and going. I can see here, Article 11, citizens have the right to self-protection and security in periods of armed conflicts. The citizens call upon the State of Good Hope to observe international standards, in particular the 14th Geneva Conference of 1949 for the protection of civilian populations in circumstances of emergencies and armed conflict. Recruit citizens against their will into armed forces, and in particular for use against other indigenous people. Recruit children to armed forces under any circumstances, force individuals to abandon their lands, territories, or means of subsistence, or locate them in special centers for military purpose, force individuals to work for military purposes under any discriminatory conditions. One moment. And you got stuff here about citizens' rights. Yeah. No, there's a lot of good stuff here. I always recommend that. And I'm going to see how far I'm going to go. I may just stop at any time, so forgive me if I'm like, look, if you hear some dead air along the way. And a lot about their natural born rights here, which is good. So people should actually read these things. Article 27, the citizens have the right to restitution of their lands, territories, and resources which they have traditionally owned or otherwise occupied or used, which have been confiscated, occupied, used, or damaged without their free and informed consent. Where this is not possible, they have the right to fair and just compensation, unless otherwise freely agreed upon by peoples concerned. Compensation shall take the form of lands, territories, and resources, equal in quality, size, and legal status. That's more like eminent domain when you come down to it. In there, so yeah, so like I said, it's they're trying to make their area spiritually prosper, which is fine, and yeah, so a lot of stuff in here you can look at. It says Article 35, citizens, in particular those involved by international borders, have the right to maintain and develop contacts, relations, and cooperation, including activities for spiritual, cultural, political, economic, and social purposes with other peoples across borders. The Khalistan Royal House shall take effective measures to ensure the exercise and the implementation of this right. They will make sure that does occur without any grievance or a deprivation. And so that's one of most areas here, consider minimal standards. Rights, Article 42. Rights, all the rights and freedoms recognized here are equally guaranteed to male and female citizens. Article 43. Nothing in this declaration must be construed or as diminishing or distinguishing existing or future resident citizens may have or acquire. So it has to really stick right there. So yeah, so you got to look at all these areas, and like I said, it has its flaws. Well, it's a great start because I like to see them be sovereign. Period. I want them to get involved in the United Nations or International, Monetary Fund, World Bank, World Trade Organization, anything global. These global organizations can't hurt a free sovereign nation. So it's one of those areas I always tell folks, you have to always look at it into a bigger picture because it does hurt. Globalism, neo-mercantilism, all that does hurt a nation's economy. And of course, we got the crest, the synopsis, and the history, background, acts and laws, the leadership bill. Of course, Declaration of Secession, very news apply. Let's look at Declaration of Secession. I think it's a few pages long here. And let's check that out. Let's just see how good this goes. I know I may be digressing here, so bear with me. But like I said, they're just tired. People are tired. They don't want to get this garbage. They don't want to be extorted. This is why the whole nation that this thing has became a fact, a reality. And I have to give this new nation homage for what they've done because they see the bigger picture. And that's why I tell people, you'd be surprised how many folks would be against this, even in that nation itself. And especially when it comes to genocide, ethnocide, or democide. And I don't blame them one bit. So the ANC wants to give that nation crap. Everyone in the SGGH. Hope I got that correct. SSGH, excuse me. Stick to your guns. Stand up for what's right. Don't be afraid of these demoniacs. They want you to go crazy here. And that's one of the areas I have to see. And I'll do one more about this. From the king himself. Declaration for immediate secession. Declaration of the immediate secession, which induces to justify the secession of the Western Cape, Northern Cape, part of the Eastern Cape until the Fish River to form a new country called Good Hope under God, and a treaty by the land of the Croatian nation with the patronage of the Afrikaner, Eurokaner, and colored nations. I, King Kohibaba Baha Cornelius III, the rightful king of the royal house of the Croatian nation, and the voice of the Croatian nation, the first nation, the only indigenous people to southern Africa, seceded the land of the Western Cape, Northern Cape, Eastern Cape, until the Fish River, into a new country called Good Hope. Under a treaty and a binding agreement for power sharing in a new government with the Afrikaner nation, Eurokaner nation, Afrikaner nation, and the colored nation, in convention assembled on the 24th day of September, AD 2017, declare that the frequent violations of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa by the government's encroachments upon the reserves rights of the people fully justify these provinces, and then withdrawing from the Republic and declare our qualified right to be redeemable secession. In our case of gross violations of human rights of all said nation's people, in difference to the opinions and wishes of the province, we forbore at this time to exercise this under our right under International African Union and United Nations laws. And now the province of the Western Cape, Northern Cape, and part of the Eastern Cape up until the Fish River have formed one nation, one country called Good Hope, have resumed her separate and equal place among nations. Deem it due to herself and the remaining of the Republic of South Africa and to the nation of the world that she should declare the immediate causes which have led to this act. The gross violations against all of our people that led our nation to act include: South African government denies the internal form of the right of our people, violating our fundamental human rights. The non-recognition of our nation as the first nation and only the indigenous people of Southern Africa, and the non-recognition of the Eurokaner, Afrikaner, and the colored nation who have legitimate rights to live in this land. The genocide of white people who are at the 8th level of genocide the genocide watch. The marginalized of all minority groups. The plunder of state coffers to such a degree that has seen the economic downfall and failed state enterprises, defense forces, and other enterprises. The total capture of our country and government officials for self-enrichment. Destruction of our economy that has led us to junk status. The lack of employment for all our people, and the BEE status that only benefits the foreigners to our land, namely the black Africans. There's a violent land grabs by the EEF, BLF, and ANC, and the calls for more, which has created instability in the country. The fact that the government has used international corporations to formulate propaganda for the demise of our specific groups. Constitutional failures, lawlessness without justice, hate speech, threats, rapes, and xenophobia, all targeted towards our own people. The mass unemployment and degradation of our people further down to extreme poverty. Open borders, that the fact of our defense force has no money to defend, which threatens our people's safety, employment, and the way of life. Club of Rome 101 to be exact. Much more atrocities by the oppressive ANC-led government, ANC, EFF, and BLF political parties. The cold fact is that politically we have reached a stalemate. All avenues have been exhausted by our people, from referendums, negotiations, court action, mass marches, signatures, and international appeals. all failed have fallen on deaf ears by both the national government and other international officials. In the present cases above, the fact is established with certainty. We asserted that the ANC-led government had deliberately refused for years past to fulfill their constitutional obligations to the good people of our country. The general government, as the common agent, passed laws that carry into effect the stipulations of the country. For many years, these laws were executed, but an increasing hostility on the part of the government and parties with similar agendas has led to a disregard of their obligations, and the laws of the government have ceased to affect the objects of the Constitution. Thus, the constituted compact had been deliberately broken and degraded by the government, and the consequence follows that the Western Cape, Northern Cape, and part of the Eastern Cape is released from their obligations. The ends for which the Constitution was framed are declared by itself to be to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of our liberty and our prosperity. We affirm that these ends for which this government was instituted have been defeated, and the government itself has made destructive of them by their actions. Since 2008, our country has steadily been destroyed by the very ones that should be protecting the Constitution and all our people. They have also plundered and mismanaged the country, that the public mind is in the belief that our people is in course of the ultimate extinction. On the 23rd day of September 2017, our said nations will take possession of the provinces seceded to a new country under a sovereign parliament federal government, and it has announced that the remainder of the provinces are excluded from the common territory, that the judicial tribunals shall be sectional, and that is a peaceful succession. We do invite and welcome the South African government to come and hold discussions should they wish to. We therefore, the people of the sovereign country of Good Hope, by our delegates in convention assembled appealing to the world for the rectitude of our intentions, have solemnly declared that the union heretofore existing between these said provinces and other provinces of the Republic of South Africa is dissolved, and the sovereign country of Good Hope has resumed her position among the nations of the world as a separate and independent country, with full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do other acts and things which independent countries may of right do. Read and adopted by King Cohibaha Cornelius III and adopted by the four nations on this day, September 25th, 2017. His signature is on there. Head of the Royal House of the Cosian Nation, the 24th September 2017. And what's really good about this site, even talk about history of secessions as well, which is I think is great, because people can really learn the history of these things about why all this has occurred, why secession is important. And I have to agree on them completely, because one of the areas that people got folks that really are looking about secession, when folks get tired of what's going on, they want to do the things a lot more further. So, this nation of Good Hope, do what's best for yourselves and your neighbors within this new nation. The king has to fulfill his obligations too with his own constitution. And be ready on exercising your inherited rights or inalienable rights, including defending yourselves and your country when it's necessary. Because I'm expecting the South African nation, the nation of South Africa's military, may want to come in there and try to do a full-fledged war. And I hope and pray it won't be the case. However, you have to be ready. Because we've been living in dangerous world since the beginning of time. And I know for sure, I know a lot of people who I talk to from Zimbabwe and South Africa was telling me it was getting a little crazy. I've been knowing about this more. I learned a lot about this more in early 2001. So to me, there's nothing new what's going on. But I am very happy that you gave them, the government of South Africa, a big middle finger, saying you're not going to take our lands. No way, no how. Stay vigilant and be spiritually prosperous. And that is it. I'd like to thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or if you say something interesting you may want to check out, whatever you do, please deliver your correspondences with the corner. You can hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Tumblr, YouTube, Freedoms Network, Minds.com, FutureNet.club, Patreon.com/Book3. If you're going to be a patron, that would be fantastic. Hit me at gab.ai, yours.org, oneway.com, wireless.co. Additionally, you can email me at lookluck3@gmail.com. If you're encrypted ones, that's with the Proton Mail account, Luck numbers 03@protonmail.com. Wow, I didn't know it was going to be this long, but it's almost an hour, which is all well and good. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, always remember that the demonic resistance helped the stone can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.